How's it going, everybody? It is I, Jacob Moore, the self-proclaimed, half-asleep, kind of frustrated sports analyst. That's a tongue twister and a half. Now, you might be wondering, do we have faces tonight? We actually do have faces. It's incredible. Even when we're frustrated, we're still very, very good looking. So let's introduce this amazing panel. As always, we have Mr. Cam, because Lane has not changed his name.
Oh.
And we have Adam, who was not bit by a spider. No. Adam, what were you bit by?
I don't know. What was I bit by?
A goat.
Thanks for the reminder.
And we got to get to the comment section. What a game by the boys. Well, I have some thoughts on it, and I'm going to get into it, but I also want to welcome everyone to my lobby. And yeah, Key, the score was what it was. Not a phenomenal night by the Toronto Maple Leafs.
Oh,
however,
you sure?
However, I would like to kind of start this conversation off with, don't hit the panic button. It's one game. You got points in 10 games in a row. I would look at this as the boys were gassed. They looked gassed. I thought they had a nice push in the third period. To be honest, I think Matthews could have had a hat trick tonight.
I'm going to help Keo here. Penny, get off the nightstand. Did it work, Key?
Hopefully that worked for you, Key. But look, no, at the end of the day for the Leafs, I thought Hildeby looked off. But again, would I feel now that, Hildeby can't play anymore? No, I think that'd be a bad take. Lane, apparently you're the king.
Well, I already, after 3-1, I made a tweet. I'm like, I literally made a tweet saying the real Maple Leafs are back.
Look, boys, I don't know. I really look at this game and I look at it as you got points in 10 straight. You came off an overtime loss in Colorado. Overtime win, in Colorado. You didn't get into Utah till 2:30 in the morning. Utah's played really well of late as well.
Can't win them all.
You can't win them all, and maybe you guys would disagree with me. I felt the Leafs still had their chances tonight. They had their looks. It just the bounces just weren't there.
It's a game. It's a game that I like what they said on TSN. Well, I didn't like it, but it's true. This was a game in which by all accounts, it was a game the Leafs were going to lose no matter what version of them showed up, because they played an emotional game last night against a very good Colorado Avalanche team.
Best team in the league.
And yeah, you play that kind of game and then you go into Utah on you get there late, you're tired after playing an OT thriller.
You're paying millions of dollars. Give me a break.
Lane, I'm not going to get worked up over this because but it's always a little tiring. People are just like, oh, they're million. Oh, they get paid millions, so they got to perform. It's no, because Lane, let me ask you.
I would take their money and go to Arizona 3 in the morning.
Lane, just stop and just let me ask my question.
Sure.
To you. Okay. So let's say you just played OT thriller against the best team in hockey in Colorado.
Yeah.
You then have to travel to Utah. You get it at 2:30 in the morning, and you got to come off an emotionally draining loss. Okay. Let me ask you that. How do you perform not even 24 hours later?
Okay,
how do you perform the next night?
Good question. I got a response here. How did the Dodgers beat the Blue Jays when they had to finish their last game at 6 in the morning? Didn't get into Toronto till 4 o'clock that night. Didn't even get a practice in. Didn't even get to sleep. Didn't get to go to a hotel. And they still beat them 7-0 in the game when it mattered. How did they do that?
No offense.
Well,
it's the same thing.
But
it's not. You're comparing a non-contact sport to a contact sport. I'm sorry.
No, but I mean,
dude, they
still got to show up
the same day.
You got to show up, yeah, but it's...
And Lane, I do get where you're I do get where you're coming from. I also get where Adam's coming from. I think Fun Fish has a perfect comment for this. Come back to me if the Leafs lose 3 in a row. Yeah, I think that's a better take on it. And I will say, I do agree with Lane and Funfish. Everyone's having fun with the fishies tonight. Yeah, I do think they need to show up. And do I think the team looked flat? Yeah, I did.
I'm not mad that they lost, but it's disappointing.
But you won't know for sure. But at the same time, you still have to look. They have points in 10 of their last 11 games.
Yeah, that's good.
Let's see how they do on Thursday night. And we'll see how they do on Saturday night. And yeah, as Funfish says, let's say you lose those next 2 games, and then new conversations are had.
I'm not hitting the panic button.
Apparently, you did
Look,
help.
I'm not hitting the panic button. I'm just I'm not scrape. I mean, I was joking about that before. I'm not actually that upset. I'm just saying, don't make excuses. Like you can't tell.
It's a legit thing that happens.
I know, but other teams deal with it too. Like.
Yeah, but it's a legit. It's not an excuse, Lane, when it legit happens to teams. Like
okay,
it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if
so
other
it's not an
teams
excuse.
Go up. Oh my gosh, Lane!
It's not an excuse.
Let me finish. I'm not making an excuse. It's a factual thing
right.
that has happened to teams before. It's not an excuse when it's something that does happen.
Right.
It's a legit issue that does happen where teams.
Right. So you can't cry about it.
I'm not crying about it.
They are, though. But they are.
Who? The Leafs? They don't seem to be crying about it.
They made a big stink about it. Whoa. In their post game. Well, we didn't get into 3 in the morning.
They didn't get into the game. It's a thing. Like, they were tired. It's not an excuse. It's just a fact. They didn't get into the game in time. And it sucks. But getting in at 2:30 in the morning, it was just rough for them. If that's what they want to say, they can go ahead and say it. But it's true. You don't have to like it, Lane. You don't have to like what they say, but it's true. You didn't have to like it, but it's not like they're lying to you. It's not like they're lying to you about what happened. So
look, I look at it at the end of the day, it's one loss.
Yeah, right? I know that.
And whether you lose 6-1, 2-1, 12-4, it's a loss. You don't get the 2 points, you reload, you move on. That's my 2 cents on it. And Key, it's tough to say that the World Blue Jays was rigged. I didn't love the call in Game 6 of the ball being stuck under the wall or whatever. But by reading the rule, I've seen it interpreted in 2 ways. It's tough, right? But I will say, like, I think the Jays will respond next year. The same way I project the Leafs will have a very strong game on Thursday night versus the Vegas Golden Knights. I don't think it was necessarily they were looking ahead. I think they came in gassed. And I will say, if you're going, not that I'm necessarily pointing fingers, but if I am going to point any fingers, Dennis Hildeby had a really off night. He looked bad. Okay, now, am I saying don't play him again? Absolutely not. That would be stupid. Everyone's entitled to an off night. We've all gone to work and we've just had a bad
day. Of course.
And
I do have a question, though.
I mean, if you have a bad day and you're feeling crappy, it's got to get yourself a cabinet kitty. That's all you need. So just find a cat.
I do have a question.
Open the cabinet. Look at the cat. Lane, get yourself a cat. Put it in the cabinet. Open the cabinet. You'll feel better.
Okay, I do have a question. Just a question. I'm not saying whether it's right or wrong. I just have a question. Let me ask you a question. Do you not find it weird that the Leafs can fully show up for a game against Colorado, but for a game against these, but whenever they face a team under 500, it's always some sort of, well, it was this, well, it was that, well, it was this. I don't know why that's still a thing, because they seem to struggle with teams under 500 and teams that are below them in the standings. But when they play like a team like a Colorado or they play Edmonton, and all of a sudden it doesn't matter what happened the last night. They could have went to the bar and drank the whole bar and still show up and beat them 6-0.
Wayne, you're being called out in the comments for the exact same thing that I was about to say to you. They just beat Vancouver 5-0. They just beat the Panthers, who are lower than them in the standings. They just beat the Jets, who are lower than them in the standings. They just beat the Devils, who are lower than them in the standings. They just beat the Senators, who are lower than them in the standings. Do I think at times teams do play below their opponent? Absolutely. And I get where you're coming from, but in this specific case, you had just played Saturday, Monday, Tuesday. You went from Toronto to Colorado to Utah. And again, I'm not making an excuse. This is a reason. Another reason why I hate the NHL going to the Olympics, because you have this crammed schedule where so many players are getting hurt. You're seeing bad hockey. And I do want to bring up one other thing, though.
Lots of injuries,
I wish Dan
too.
was here for this one, but he's in la la land, sleeping, dreaming of the Leafs beating Utah 6-1.
Well, Dan did call that the Utah would beat the Leafs tonight.
But my big thing is, so Max Domi against Vancouver, when they're up big, no need to have a fight, right? And he gets into a fight. Wouldn't have you loved a Max Domi fight in the second period when they were down 2-0 to try to spark the boys?
Oh, we all tried that.
Bugs me with guys like Max Domi. He just doesn't seem to know when to do it and when not to. And again, he's had a good run of late. It wasn't a great game for him tonight, but at the end of the day, this is the time I would have loved to see Max Domi pick a fight. Not in a 4-0 game against Vancouver. And this is what I mean by situational fighting. You saw when Scott Lawton tried to pick a fight with O'Brien when they were up 4-0, O'Brien wouldn't do it. But maybe if Max Domi runs around, throws a couple hits, tries to get into a fight in a 2-0 game, maybe this sparks the boys like the way the Yarncroke goal did. Because I actually thought when the Leafs made it 4-1, they did start to amp up the chances. Like I said, Matthews could have had a hat trick tonight. Like legitimately, he had a lot of really high quality chances. And the bounces just did not go their way whatsoever. But I mean, at the end of the day, it is what it is. It sucks. It's not a good performance from the goaltender out. But you now just got to reload. I think Berube made the right decision leaving Hill to be in for all 6 because you got to go to Woll on Thursday. And yes, Funfish, it is Vegas on Thursday. Hopefully they don't do too much gambling when they get into Vegas.
Oh, yeah, we had to go to the casino. I mean, we had to go to the casino.
And Funfish, I agree with you. Like, if let's say they lose to Vegas and then they lose, not even necessarily lose. Let's say they have 2 really bad games against Vegas and Winnipeg. I'll be having a very different conversation. I'll be here getting angry and
wait. No, I have something that I want to say. Well, because Funfish said 0 excuse to lose to the Jets. The Jets have played okay tonight against the Islanders. They got the dub. I'm pretty sure they won the last game they played too.
They did.
Not Vegas, but the Jets on paper are not a bad hockey team. And it's like saying, oh, you have 0 excuses to lose to the Jets. Well, they still have, whether you like it or not, whether you like the guy or not, and whether you think he's playing great this year or not, he is the defending Hart Trophy winner and the defending Vezina Trophy winner in Hellebuyck. They still have a great player in Mark Scheifele who should be going to the Olympics. They still have Kyle Connor. They got a lot of great players. There is now losing to them when they're playing the way they have been playing this year is not exactly amazing. But to say there's 0 excuses to losing to the Jets when the Jets on paper are you could say in some ways they might be better than the Leafs. Of course, I don't think that's the case, but you can make the argument, I guess, if you really wanted to try to.
You could.
But like, I just don't like anybody can beat anybody in this league. And like people coming and just complaining about like, you can't win every game. This was a frustrating loss. But I'm actually kind of glad the Jets have gotten starting to maybe string some wins together.
I will say too, for the Jets game, Adam Lowry going an assist, Kyle Connor going an assist, Mark Scheifele 2 assists, Iafallo with another assist, Jonathan Taves 3 games in a row with a goal. Maybe he's starting to get into a bit of a role. Maybe Christmas came late for this gentleman. He's getting going. And I will say, but a big
fan of Jonathan Taves
for the Winnipeg Jets. And I just feel with that one, I'm in between Adam and Funfish getting fish and chips. I don't necessarily say there's 0 excuses if they lose. There's 0 excuses to have an effort like they did in the next 2 games. Because you're going to get a day off. I know it's a travel day, and then you're going to get some more time off between the Vegas game and the Winnipeg game. I'm not saying they need to win out these next 2 games because realistically, we're not in must-win territory against teams in the West. We're not. And we are, even if we lose these 2 games, it's not like we're not going to make the playoffs. But I just want to see better. I just want to see a good effort. that's kind of my mantra on this. I just want to see a better effort. And you know what, Brandon? I actually think Riley's been playing better the last few games. Not a
bad tonight.
Lane, no offense. I think Morgan Riley could cure cancer and you still wouldn't like him. No. And that's fine.
So Jacob,
and that's okay.
Jacob, that's what I did want to I wanted to say when you said
you want to cure cancer. When I saw Adam, I'm proud of you.
Oh my gosh, Jacob. No, when I saw that comment, I wanted to say, I think, and I still think this because I love Morgan Riley. I could care less if they trade him because he wants to go. They trade him if he wants to go. I thought this 2 years ago. I thought this last year. I thought this year. And I will keep saying it. I don't care if anybody disagrees with me because I think that despite everything everybody else wants to say about Morgan Riley, I think Morgan Riley has fully earned the right as a Toronto Maple Leaf. He has been here the longest on this team, the longest on this franchise. He has earned every single right to stay on this team. And he has earned every right to say, no, I don't want to leave. And no, I won't waive your my no move clause. You gave it to me. I have every right to exercise my right to stay here. I think Morgan Riley is the only player currently on this team that has earned the right to dictate when they leave the Toronto Maple Leafs. With his no move, he has earned every right because he has been through hell and back with this franchise. And everybody just continues to disrespect that man. He has earned the right to be here. He has earned the right to tell all of us to screw off and I'm going to stay here and earn the money I'm getting paid.
I agree with you on that.
And I will never stop supporting Mo.
And I will say this too, when people get angry that players won't waive the no moves, get angry at the GMs who signed the contracts, not the players who accepted the deals, right? That's it's kind of like I look at it, if you're at a work environment and your coworkers are a bunch of idiots, it's not really your coworkers' fault. That's the management staff that keeps those people around and gives them the deals that they do. I work with lovely people, by the way. But I will say quickly, too, it wasn't just the Maple Leafs who had a disappointing night tonight, as we had the Edmonton Oilers losing. That's right. You heard me right. Losing to the Nashville Predators.
Well, they did just get Wallman back. I think Jari just came back tonight.
Did you see the overtime goal, though? I don't know what the hell Jari was doing. He skated out to the blue line, then turned the puck over, and then just went like it was not good. Jari did not have a good night again tonight.
I think Jake Wallman played for the first time. They could.
Wallman was back in the lineup. Jari allowed 4 goals on 27 shots. The overtime goal was terrible.
I still think
scoring again.
Low key, I really do think that the Oilers and Pittsburgh both lost. I think no matter what happens, I don't think Pittsburgh and I don't think the Oilers. Skinner was the only one who won the deal. Pittsburgh didn't win the deal. People are going to say Pittsburgh won the deal because Skinner's been playing well, but it's how long does Skinner keep that up? I don't think Pittsburgh won it because Pittsburgh and the Oilers basically made and traded the same goalie for each other. Neither team got any better. Skinner's the only one who won the trade. Jari probably lost the trade.
Honestly, I would say Pittsburgh won the trade because you also got Brett Kulak, who's a half-decent defenseman. And look, Edmonton maybe has got to wake up and smell the coffee and realize it's their defensive structure that does them in more than the mediocre goaltending. Probably. And trading a mediocre goalie for a mediocre goalie, Edmonton has the least amount of 3-game winning streaks in the NHL right now. This team is just not they're 23-16-8, and that's okay. But they're win 2, lose 2, win 2, lose 2, win 2, lose 1 kind of deal. And sure,
Jacob, I have a gasser ass.
His point streak to what?
They're streaky.
Jacob, I have a gasser ass.
Oh,
on the Oilers.
Adam is calling for the donkey butt.
No, so I just said I have a gas. I didn't want the donkey butt, but
well, guess what? Or is it ass?
Wow, no intro to me doing it. Okay.
Go ahead, Adam. What's your gas?
Okay. The Oilers if the Oilers fail to win the Stanley Cup again, the Oilers should trade one of Connor McDavid, Leon Draisaitl, Zach Hyman, or Bouchard or Nugent Hopkins.
Oh, Bouchard, sure.
One of their big guys. They have to trade somebody this offseason. No matter who it is, somebody has to be traded this offseason if they fail to capture the cup for a third consecutive season. No matter how deep they go, somebody has to get traded because they can't keep doing what they've been doing.
I would say gas, and it's either Bouchard or Nugent Hopkins.
Yeah.
As much as Nugent Hopkins is on a great contract, I
have a differing opinion.
You absolutely have to fix the depth. The only way to fix the depth is to move money. The only way to move money is losing a good player. So whether it's Darnell Nurse, because I mean he's also $10 million, whether it's Evan Bouchard, that's $10 million. You're not trading Connor McDavid. You're not trading Leon Draisaitl, even though between those two, it's like around $25 million roughly. So you're either moving on from, and you're not moving on from Hyman because it's honestly a good contract for what you get from him. So you're either moving on from Bouchard, Nurse, or
so
Nugent
Jacob,
Hopkins.
I just looked this up because I realized I didn't really think about this particularly thoughtfully. I didn't realize Nuge has a no trade clause.
Well, like everybody does.
Everyone does. It's what everyone does.
Zach Hyman.
I'm pretty sure my grandma has a no trade clause.
So Nuge not Nuge, but Hyman becomes modified, and Booch doesn't have one until his third year of his contract.
You got to get rid of Bouchard then. Key, to say to your question, Key, here about the Devils, I just think they don't have the skill, and they just started off hot. But they just don't have the players in that locker room to be a consistent winning team.
Brendan, I never said Riley should be immune to criticism. I said, and I'll quote I said that I felt like he's been disrespected. That doesn't mean I think he should be immune to criticism. But I think he's earned a right to dictate if he stays on this team or not. I never said he should be immune to criticism. But your criticism of him is just like, I don't know. Like, it's just like you could have the same concerns about a lot of players on this team. You have a lot of concerns about a lot of different players on this team. But it seems, this is just me. I could be wrong, of course, because I'm not everywhere looking at how every Leaf fan reacts. But I do feel like Morgan Riley takes an unfair amount of blame for a lot of what happens in the last 2 years. Now, last year, he didn't play particularly great. He didn't play up to his standards. I won't ever deny that. But do I think he was to blame for anything that happened last year? Or do I think he's to blame for everything that's happened this year? No, because Stolarz takes a lot of that blame for this season because he was horrid to begin this year. Like, a lot of blame could be put on the defense at times because despite Jake McCabe's awesome plus and minus that Jacob likes to bring up all the time. That decor outside of him, you can even blame him because he's had a lot of he's been on the ice for a lot of bad goals. Like, there's nobody on this team that's immune to criticism, but to only blame and only go at one guy a lot, which is what I feel like this fan base does a lot. Not everybody.
Well, I will say this too. I would say,
and
so Brandon, again, stats certainly don't lie. Riley has been on for a lot of 5-on-5 goals. However, do you know how I said when the Edmonton Oilers, when they moved on from Stuart Skinner, who will be the new scapegoat when they don't get it done again? When the Leafs moved on from Mitch Marner, now the fan base just looks at Morgan Riley. Has Morgan Riley had a phenomenal season? No. Is he the sole reason why you went from winning the division to fighting for a wild card position? No.
Brendan.
It's structure. And again, I know I keep harping on coaching and structure, and Lane, I know you disagree on me with that, and that's totally fine. I think Berube is getting this team to finally play the structure he wants. I think it's starting to work. But the structure isn't always there. What Morgan Riley doesn't fit a Craig Berube scheme, I would say. Right. And I also think with Morgan Riley, this year he has played with Philip Myers, OEL, Dakota Mermis, Chris Tanev, Brandon Carlo, Simone Benoit. He played at that Thurman guy for a game. Like, you look at Cale Makar, and by the way, I am not saying Morgan Riley's as good as Cale Makar, because that would be...
Jacob, nobody thought you were going to make that point.
No, but you look at Cale Makar. Who has he played with for the majority of his career when he's been at his peak?
Devin Taves.
Tell me who Luke Shen has played. No, sorry, not Luke Shen, because I do love Luke Shen. But tell me who Morgan Riley has played with consistently.
Robodice, Polak for a while there. He was probably
okay, but if those are the defensemen you're thinking of, you literally just answered my thing. If you put Morgan Riley has had the most success when he played with a good defenseman that fits his game, right? I'm just saying, you look, when Morgan Riley played with Luke Shen or Lyubushkin, he had very good seasons, right? He was with a good shutdown defenseman. Him and Carlo have never really clicked the way I think the way everyone, including Tree Living and Berube, were hoping they would.
So, Jacob, I have another point.
And Brandon, by the way, we're not saying that you're like this when we're saying
okay. So now I have to make another point. I have 2 points to make because I feel like this happens way too often. Is that I'm not talking about you when I'm talking about Leafs Nation. I'm not pointing you, Brett. I'm answering a question. I'm saying, like, I'm of course answering something you had said, but I'm not talking about you. I never said that you were the one who said that he should get traded. I said Leafs Nation goes on and blames him. I never said you did. I said the whole fan base does it. But my other point to come across, and I feel like I tried to make this with when we were talking about Jake McCabe, when we were talking about the U.S. roster, there's 5 guys out on the ice. 5 guys. Plus a goaltender. 6, yeah, that's what I was just about to say. Plus a goaltender. There's 6 guys out on the ice. You can't blame one guy without blaming everybody else on the ice. Just like you can't praise Jake McCabe for having a plus 25 goal differential because there's 5 other guys out on the ice with him that are keeping the puck out of the net. And guess who else has been on the ice for a lot of 5-on-5 goals? Stolars, Woll, Hildeby. Well, same as 4 other guys that are out there with Morgan Riley.
Yeah.
Like, I hate this because it's the same way with the plus and minus. Look at Colorado's plus minuses. Yeah, but there's a bunch of guys who have awesome plus minuses. Does that mean they're having amazing years? Yes, they're plus and minus, but it's also because their team is stacked and they score.
Well, they're elite. Like, Colorado is the best team in the NHL, and it's not even a question.
My point, sir. But there's 4 other guys out on the ice. I hate blaming one guy. Because it's just so dumb. Like Morgan Riley, what was it against the Islanders? Like Jake McCabe, terrible substitution led to Morgan Riley being isolated against Matthew Schaefer after he just got on the ice. Mm-hmm. Matthew Schaefer in overtime on the Schaefer winner against the Islanders. Who else was there trying to guard Schaefer? Matty Nyes. Matty Nyes slips and falls.
Yeah.
And Morgan Riley, guess what? Morgan Riley took a lot of blame for that goal, despite Matty Nyes falling over and embarrassing himself on that. But no, nobody talks about Matty Nyes. Everybody talks about Morgan Riley. Everybody, but it's like there's 6 guys out on the ice. All I'm trying to say is that you can't blame one guy. That's anybody. That's Austin Matthews. That's Matty Nyes. That's Jake McCabe. That's Joseph Woll. You can't blame one guy for defensive mistakes that happen when you have a bunch of other guys out on the ice. Plus minus, I think plus minus is one of the stupidest statistics, in my opinion. It's a good statistic, but it's also reliant on everybody else that's out there.
It is 100%.
Plus minus is not a stat that you get blamed for a goal. Only one person gets a negative for a goal. It's everybody that's out on the ice gets the negative.
And I mean, you could be on the ice for literally 1 second and you get a minus on your sheet. And I will say, to answer, Brandon, your question, I think what Adam means by lumping the goaltender in that.
I get way too much.
Obviously, goaltenders don't necessarily have a plus minus, but they do have a goals against average, obviously. And a defenseman can make a good play and a goalie can let in a weak goal. The defenseman still gets the minus. And I think it's just coming down to, it's a team sport. You win as a team, you lose as a team. I feel like, and Brandon, you're more than entitled to disagree. That is Honestly, cool. I mean, that's why we have these conversations. We like bringing in the comment section. We like to get your guys' reactions, and then we can talk about them and
Car
have
Wash.
these discussions. We have a Utah fan
You're quite a poor loser.
So welcome to...
I mean, winner, not loser. Jeez, that's
welcome
honest.
to Car Wash now. Let's go Utah. Easy win for Utah. Enjoy the Leafs loss. Well, I'm glad you got to enjoy it. And yeah, I would say Utah outplayed Toronto for, I'd say, pretty much the full 60 minutes. So good for Utah. Utah now is getting on a nice roll, right? I mean, they did start the year 8-2. Then they only won 4 out of like 16 or 17 games, really struggled. Now they're 6-1-1, I think, in their last 8, something like that. So the Utah Mammoth are starting to get on a roll again. They need to get that mascot a better mask because it looked kind of terrifying. But I mean, Utah's getting on a roll. But what's up, Mr. Dashko?
Well, I never got to answer Adam's Casser ask because a lot of comments came in. What if I was the Oilers? What I would do, honestly, instead of trading all these other players, maybe just try to package a Trent Frederick Mangiapane trade and try to bring in some defense. Instead of trading Bouchard, instead of trading the players that know you, that only 6 players that do anything, maybe just try to package like a Mangiapane, a Frederick, a pick, and bring in some good players.
Yeah, but
the Trent Frederick signing was a really bad signing.
But do you see, Lane, where like I've had this criticism of the Oilers for like years now at this point, because it's the same criticism that gets levied at the Leafs, is that they have so much money tied up in so many players, and then the old guys who do anything half the time. And it's like it gets to the point where you're kind of just like you got to get depth, but you can't have Bouchard, who signed short term. Bouchard only signed a 4-year deal, which is even like crazier. Because I agree with you said that Bouchard was heavily overpaid. Like that was crazy. And
yeah, Gordon Miller did want to fight.
He was in a bad.
That was funny.
Why is the commentators like basically in the stands there? It's
that was weird. It's like it's in a junior hockey rink, which I work at a lot of junior hockey rinks. No disrespect,
because I don't think they have like where they do commentating there is NBA, which is courtside. Like the NBA does their commentary courtside, so they don't have a gondola where Utah.
Because they need to do something. Because that just looked.
Well, Jacob, that's why they're doing a bunch of renovations because they're hosting the Olympics there in like a decade, less than a decade.
Well, I hope they start. Hope it's not like the Italy Olympics. But
yeah. By the way, Lane, they've been like doing renovations.
No, I'm just saying. I hope they start on it now and not like because I don't know if you guys seen. I know this is really off topic. Have you seen the pictures of the dressing rooms?
Oh, they look.
They'll finish them.
Like, let's hope. Either I
can understand
the players who used to play for Arizona will just feel like they're back in Arizona.
I can understand why people
it's
are
like
upset.
It's literally like changing its scaffold.
Like I can understand being so frustrated by this, but I'm like the NHL and the NHLPA already said they are not concerned about getting stuff done. They aren't concerned by it. So why? Like I just feel like everybody's getting so because
NHL lies.
No, but
they lie.
Lane, if they were concerned, the players wouldn't be going. There's why would there's no reason. But I get to
Chris Johnson apparently did say that. I heard on his podcast. His words, not mine. He said apparently if you agree to go to the Olympics this year, you have to sign. Every player has to sign an NDA and is not allowed to talk about the rink or if they're off the team and they're not allowed to go.
So by the way, just so you know, that's not new. The Olympic Committee has been doing that for like over 20 years.
Okay, so that's not new.
That's not a new thing.
They made it sound like it was a new thing.
Players talk about their Olympic experiences for another 10 plus years because there's a certain time limit on that. It's interesting, but that's one thing that really.
They made it sound like
I'm not calling you out for this because you just heard information on another show and you're talking about it. But for these other podcasters who are going on acting like they have the facts, Lane, you just saying what you heard reporting from someone else. That's different. But these people who are on these humongous platforms, they really need to be a little more careful on what they're reporting on before they actually say it and give both sides of the story. But there were some other games tonight that I want to touch on. We're not going to stay on too late today because it's already 1:30 in the morning. And, unfortunately, this is not our only jobs. We had the Ottawa Senators getting, I would say, a must-win for them over the Vancouver Canucks. This season has been a struggle. I think the best thing for the Senators here is that they only allowed 1 goal. So that's got to feel good that, you know what, the team actually shut things down defensively and were able to get a dub. And people say, well, it's against Vancouver. Who the hell cares? Well, they still beat Vancouver, getting 2 early goals in the first period by Zub and Spence. And you had Malenin making 19 saves for the victory. Patterson getting the only goal for the Canucks in the third, with Lenkonen making 38 saves in the loss. So you certainly can't blame goaltending, even though Thatcher Demko was injured on that one. Ottawa does improve now to 21, 19, and 5. Vancouver drops to 16, 25, and 5. So big win for the Ottawa Senators. We also had the Calgary Flames taking a tough loss to the Columbus Blue Jackets, giving up the game-winning goal of under a minute left in the third. This will be a tough one to swallow for the Flames. I don't know. I'm curious what your guys' perspectives are more on the Flames. Did drop to 19, 23, and 4. Look, I personally think the Flames season, as much as I had hoped for them a couple weeks ago, I think they're kind of getting to a point where this season's a write-off and they just got to look forward to next year. What are your guys' thoughts on that?
The Flames suck. What else is new? Jacob, I don't know what you saw in this team, but
I don't know either.
This was always going to be a train wreck of a year for them. They weren't going to be good. I can understand why they wanted to try and, you know, keep their pieces and see what they have. But like Rasmus Anderson's gone. He's not resigning there. So he's going to be gone at the deadline. I'm surprised he hasn't been dealt yet, to be honest with you. Because at the Flames, because he's out this summer, I believe. Like if they don't trade him and they lose him for nothing, that is like
that's a disaster. You have to get something
short-sighted by the Flames. I don't know. I don't understand why they haven't dealt him yet. Like Kadri's probably going to get traded depending on if the Flames want to retain or not.
Let's see Colorado get Kadri back.
Colorado's not doing that.
I would love to picture a third line of like Kadri, Nelson, and then I don't know, some other dude.
Yeah, but Jacob, you got to look at it to the point that look how big Kadri's valuation to Flames is going to be different to how Colorado values him. But Colorado, I don't know what they trade for him. I don't think they're going to trade for him, though, because this Colorado team is already so good. I doubt they really need him. And I know you're going to say, oh, well, they haven't been able to replace the guy since. Well, blah, blah, blah. Well, who cares? They're the best team in hockey right now. So
they were the best team in hockey last year, though.
They weren't the best team in hockey last year. That was the Winnipeg Jets and the Dallas Stars. I think both of those teams were better than Colorado ahead of the offseason.
I don't know. I still think Colorado is, like it or lump it.
They're the best team in hockey this year.
Success since they let Nazem Kadri go.
And yeah, but they didn't have a lot before him either. So, like,
what do you mean? They literally won a cup with Kadri, who was one of their best players on that cup.
I said they did before they had him. They didn't have a lot of.
They didn't have a lot of success before. They get him. They win a cup, and then they let him walk.
Yeah, but he wasn't. Okay, my brain is just not working properly at 1:30 in the morning. I
don't know. I guess maybe you know what? Kadri is just one of those. I think he's a special player.
I also just think the West has gotten a lot better. And Colorado, I think a big thing is also Grigoriev ended up failing them. They lost whoever else they had on that cup run with their goaltending situation. It all went downhill after that year. But I also think, and a big thing, it doesn't get talked about, I feel like, a lot. But since 2000, how many teams, without looking it up, I want to see if you guys know this. How many teams have repeated as Stanley Cup champions since 2000 in the last 25 years, 26 years now, I guess.
I believe it's
how many teams has repeated?
I believe it's
two. So it's Tampa Bay, who gone back to back. Florida. No. Pittsburgh. 16, 17. There's 3 teams who have done it. No team repeated in basically, maybe it's 4 actually, because Chicago didn't go back to back.
No.
Kings didn't go back to back. Boston didn't go back to back. Detroit didn't go back to back in the 2000s. Nor did Colorado. No, nobody else. It was those three.
I forgot about Pittsburgh. I was close.
Pittsburgh went
Brandon,
back
you
to
were
back.
close as well if your guess
There's 3.
4.
So there was 3. And it's because it is incredibly difficult to even go back to the finals. Like
what Edmonton's done.
Back-to-back years that got to
they
the
won't do
finals.
that
You had
again.
Detroit and Pittsburgh do it in the same years. And then you didn't have it again until Pittsburgh went back-to-back, I think. Yes. So Pittsburgh went back-to-back. And then again
Florida's gone 3 straight, which is impressive.
Until the Lightning went 3 straight and Florida went 3 straight. But it's like such a hard thing to do to even go back to the finals again the next year, because you're just like, look at what has happened to the Lightning since they went 3 straight finals. Like, that team has completely fallen apart.
They've also won 11 in a row.
No, but you know what I mean. Like,
I do know what you mean. They're red hot right now.
I'm not talking about right now. I'm just saying, like, they've fallen apart.
Yeah, they've fallen.
Yes, they've fallen apart in general, because there's a ton of injuries this year, despite them winning whatever they've won now. I don't really care. But, like, I still think I don't think Florida's going to win and go back to the Cup this year. I know people are going to be like, oh, no, they're a great team, and when they get to the playoffs, they're going to dominate. But, like, Barkov is going to have basically played. He'll maybe get 5 games in if he comes near the end of the year.
If he even
so he'll be cold heading into the playoffs if they use him, because they said he's going to be available. So they kind of have to play him, I would think. Tkachuk is going to be, we don't even know if Tkachuk's coming back right now at this point before the Olympics.
What's the status on that?
He's apparently supposed to be back soon. They still haven't given a date.
Well, I mean, I think he's going to be back soon. The way Chad Kelly was going to play next week for the Argos. Like,
Barkov is skating.
Mm-hmm. Is he really?
Yes, he is skating. He skated before the Winter Classic.
What a joke
but Tkachuk, they said, was going to be back in January, Jacob, like all the way back at the start of the year. They said he was going to be back in January. They never said a date. They said the month was like
no, I don't know. I guess
early January.
I don't know. To me, it's just
something like that.
I won't be surprised if like he doesn't play this year, and maybe that's
no. He'll play this year. He
plays in the Olympics. He re-aggravates whatever's wrong.
He won't play. He won't play a minute at the Olympics if he doesn't get game time before the break. I don't think he gets in. I don't think it's worth the risk for him.
Time will tell. Because if I could turn back time, I would find a way to not watch the Leaf game on this day. But we got to get back to some more comment section here. Leafs look good tonight. I know you're Habs fans, so you're just trolling. But we also have Key.
I honestly don't even think they played that bad. Like,
they had their moments, like I said.
I don't think it was even that bad tonight. Like,
I will say though, Montreal did lose a close one in overtime. It's another game I kind of want to get into a little bit. Montreal Canadiens losing a close one, 3-2 to the Washington Capitals. Brandon Gallagher and Josh Anderson with the 2 goals. Feels like this is back from like pre-pandemic playoff run. Gallagher and Anderson to know with
crazy.
So I will say this.
Yeah, Montembeau, 39 saves too. So not a bad night from Montembeau. Rasmus Anderson, former Leaf, with the 3-point night. Ethan Frank with 2 goals and Connor McMichael with the other one. Logan Thompson, 24 saves in the victory.
So, Jacob, I know Dan has said that he thinks,
I think you mean Rasmus Sundin.
He thinks the Habs are the best Canadian team. I don't even know who's the best Canadian team, because hot take a little bit. Not really a hot take, though, when I think about it. I don't think any of the Canadian teams have particularly separated themselves, even though I do think the Habs are having a great season. But like, you look at it statistically, and like, they've allowed a lot of goals. They're exactly like the Leafs. They're exactly like Edmonton. They're exactly like most of the Canadian teams this year. They've scored goals. They can't keep the damn puck out of the net. They haven't. I get it. They're near the top of the division, but so is Detroit. And Detroit hasn't been particularly amazing this year. I think when you look back at it right now, like, Montreal have escaped a lot of close games this year, and that's helped them. I don't think any Canadian team, if we really want to say Montreal's been the best Canadian team, then they've been the best of a pretty mediocre season from every Canadian team.
I will say this.
Habs fans wants to lie their hat on being the best team of a bunch of mediocre group of teams. Congratulations. But I don't think they've separated themselves at all from anybody. I don't think they've had as good of a season as a lot of people have said they're having. Statistically, it doesn't show that, especially when you look at goals for, goals against. Their record, yeah, they put up a lot of points, but they've also escaped a lot of close OT games.
I think the difference, though, Adam, for Montreal is Edmonton and Toronto. Edmonton has been to the Stanley Cup Finals in been back-to-back years. Toronto, everyone has this really high expectations of this team, where Montreal, they're in a very different position. I would say Montreal is exceeding expectations the most out of any Canadian team this year. I did not have the expectation to them be potentially winning the division, right? So I think that's where the hype for Montreal goes. And maybe
I hate that. Like, I feel like, I'll say this because I hate the Habs, but like, let's look at this. Like, they have won, so they have a game in hand on the Leafs. They've won 26 games. They have 2 less losses, the same amount of OT losses, and they have 6 more points than the Leafs. They have the same amount of wins in regulation as the Leafs at 17 each. They have one more win with overtime than the Leafs do. They have scored 6 more goals, but they have given up 5 more goals than the Leafs have. Like, statistically, when you look at it, Montreal and Toronto's season is still like I get it. Like, they've exceeded expectations. I actually personally thought Montreal were going to be really good this year because I really like their team. But I hate when fans do this, especially, like, I get it. Like, Montreal's fans are going to hype up their team because that's what they do. That's okay. But like, when everybody else, and I feel for teams, I hate it when people did it with the Leafs, is that they talk up the teams and they're like, oh yeah, this team's going to win the division and this team is amazing and this team's going to do blah, 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 blah. But I'm like, Montreal are one of the youngest teams in the NHL, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, and that's what we're doing in the comment section here too. And I think the big thing for Montreal is it's just they're exceeding those expectations. If you said going into this year right now, Montreal and Toronto would have comparable numbers and the Habs would be a little bit better, you'd be like, wow, that's really impressive that the youngest team in the NHL, one of them at least.
But I have an example of why I don't think, like, I get it, you guys are the youngest team, blah, 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 whatever. But like, I thought this last year, I thought Ottawa was overhyped. I thought Ottawa made the playoffs a year too early. I didn't think that they were good enough to be in the playoffs last year. They have a good team, but they're exactly showing why I had concerns of them maybe jumping too early into the playoffs and being too good for their own. They going out of their depth in a certain sense. And that would be because when you think about it, the Habs made the playoffs last year. So of course their jump would be to make the playoffs again this year. So they're not taking any big step forward, but I think being in the position where they are but they haven't, like, they're in a good position, I think, building off of it. I think there are definitely concerns with that team, and it continues to be keeping the damn puck out of the net.
Yeah,
for all of their talent, the biggest concern is it's also why they got Danault. Because I love the Danault pickup.
I
should say, is because they need. I think it's the same reason you pick up a Nicholas Waugh or you pick up a Scott Laughton. You pick up a centerman who's good in the faceoff dot, disciplined defensively, and gives you good. And it gives you a lot of that good depth in a situation in which he has been in before. He went to the Cup final with them in 21, which again, I think was a little bit like that was, of course, a catalyst for them getting to this point, of course. But even that, I think, didn't necessarily, I don't want to say didn't help Montreal, but I think the season they had right after that cup run was like, it just left a little bit of a sour taste after you just made the final to lose I think they lost 60 games next year.
Now, remember, though, that
And
was
it's
no
like-
Shea Weber, no Carey Price. Let's be honest. That was 40% of the team in Montreal. To the comment section again, though,
True.
yeah, it is
Yeah, but
crazy.
Jacob,
The
do you know what
Tampa
I'm
Bay
saying,
Lightning-
though?
The
Do you
Tampa
know
Bay
what I'm
Lightning
trying to
on
get
an
at,
11-game winning streak. That's very impressive. They are now taken over top spot in the Atlantic. Now have 1 point ahead of the Red Wings. Fun fact, the Red Wings are on a 4-game winning streak. So
I still think Tampa are the best team in this division right now.
I mean, you know what?
I
If the
just
defense
think
plays as well as they can, and Vasilevsky can do what he can do. I've always said this. I think teams that are true contenders have goaltending that could be difference makers. Vasilevsky is not a goalie where it's like, oh, he'll give you a save every now and then. He's a goalie that will steal not just games, he will steal series.
Tampa Bay, in my opinion, because I've said I never liked Florida's team. Of course, that's for obvious reasons.
Because they're jerks.
No, well, that's actually not even the reason. I just don't particularly like some of their players. I don't think they're jerks. They just play a rough style of hockey, which I get. A lot of people don't like, but they toe the line and they get the calls that they need to get and they win games. It's frustrating to play against, but that's what they do. But it's like, I think that the only contender in the Atlantic Division currently is Tampa Bay. There's no other team in the Atlantic Division that is a contender in the Atlantic. Like, there's no other Stanley Cup contender in the Atlantic Division is what I'm trying to say. That point injury is bad. Apparently, the worst case scenario wasn't had. Apparently, he's out week to week, though, which I think is good, but they survived what would have, because Cooper has said he could have been out for the year, and they survived that. I don't know how long term it is, though. It's just week.
He's listed as week to week at the moment, and I hate to say this, I doubt Connor Bedard will replace Braden Point. I think Braden Point, you're looking for a bit more of a role player who can score, and I think it's more of a Mark Scheifele or a Wyatt Johnston who takes over. Like, obviously, the easy answer is Sam Bennett, because arguably he is the biggest snub on this team. But if you remember, the GM, who, by the way, said his own team sucked, which was very strange, said that he wants to bring in guys that play the same role. Sam Bennett does not play the same role as Brendan Point.
Finally, somebody gets it. I've been trying to drill this in everybody's head for the last 2 weeks of what the coaches say whenever somebody brings up a replacement. Or they're like, well, this guy should have been here for this guy, but do they play the same role? No. I've been trying to get that through people's minds, and finally somebody else gets it.
Mind you, actually,
me.
He will not even be registered on anybody's list. But if you're looking for a replacement for Braden Point, Jordan Eberle would be a perfect replacement. He will not be. I know he won't be on anyone's list. I know you guys think I'm crazy. That's fine. I'm crazy. Look at my hair tonight. Look at this. I'm crazy. And I just look at it when you're looking at
those two players don't play the same
guy
role.
Who can make clutch plays in clutch moments, but can also play a lower role. Yeah, I think Jordan Eberle is a perfect
Jacob,
fit.
I did this.
Absolutely not.
Jacob, I did this not because I think you're crazy, but I did that because those two aren't going to play the same role in the Olympics.
I think they will.
Braden Point, despite what what I think a lot of people expect of him, he's going to play next to Connor McDavid at these Olympics. I
personally think that's
if
insane.
Braden Point's
the third line player on this team.
I think he plays on the top line with Connor McDavid. Because they tried him. I think he was there at the Four Nations.
He was
with Connor McDavid. I think for him and Marner played with McDavid. I think it was.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, but that line didn't work, and then they.
Braden Point is so good. And I think it's crazy to say, because Braden Point is so talented, is that he's very underrated at times. When people want to talk about Braden Point, I don't think he gets the applause he deserves. But I do think he plays next to Connor McDavid, because the third line would be.
He played with McDavid and Stone in the final game. Braden Point played on the third line with Marner and Bennett.
Oh, that's a disgusting line.
And that's what I mean. I think Braden Point is more of a bottom six guy on this team, right?
They should
I didn't play of Connor McDavid. You have to be able to play it. I mean, I didn't like Mark Stone of McDavid either, just because you can't keep up with him. I mean, this is a whole other conversation we could have, but I won't.
Which is why you put Point next to McDavid. Point is so fast.
I do want to. We will have to maybe the next thing we have to do with the Olympic rosters is we need to come up with our own lines and see what everyone's thoughts are on them. But I think the Leafs have a clear advantage over Montreal would be goaltending. Yeah, I would agree to that. And Montreal plays with more pace. Brandon, I think that's a pretty accurate. And I will say, if you put like Joseph Woll in Montreal, not that I think the Leafs should trade Joseph Woll or any of the Leafs 3 goaltenders, Montreal becomes a better team. I think Fowler will be a good goalie in a couple of years. I just don't think he's quite ready to be a everyday, no goalie plays every day, but to be a consistent starting goalie in the NHL yet. I'm not saying he won't be, but he isn't quite there yet. Oh, Lane, were you trying to? Sorry, Lane, did I cut you off there, bud?
Yeah, I was gonna say something, but I don't know if you guys maybe my mic's not working or something.
I hear you now, Lane. So what's going on?
I was just wondering, do you think it might be kind of a benefit for Team Canada if someone like what's the name on Tampa Bay, Braden Point doesn't make it for Team Canada? Because a lot of people, a lot of people will say that he probably doesn't belong here this year. Now, I guess you're going to say, I know what I'm going to say, one bad year shouldn't mean that you don't make Team Canada. He's been a good player for most of his career. One bad year shouldn't play.
That is not what I was going to say at all.
Well, I thought
that is like, no.
But that is true. You can say,
I said this, and I said this when we were making the teams because I hate when people do this. I disliked the Bennington situation because Bennington was only selected because of pedigree, which is the stupidest thing that
he's on a bad team
I've ever heard in my life. Is that now, mind you, Jordan Binnington. I want to tell you guys this because I still think this is like mind-boggling. Because based on this, maybe Joel Hofer should be at the Olympics. Jordan Binnington lost his starting job. Lost his starting job to Joel Hofer. I don't give two cares in the world what Jordan Binnington did at the Four Nations. Because guess what? Doesn't matter. That doesn't mean anything because guess what? Cool. Congratulations to Jordan. Let's all give a round of applause to Jordan Binnington for winning the Four Nations. Give a round of applause to a man in the Olympic team. He's going to the most prestigious international hockey tournament. One of the most prestigious international Olympic hockey tournaments in the world based on a performance he made a year ago. Who the heck else made the team? Well, Mark Stone made it for the same reason. You could say Colton Parayko made it for the same reason. Like, there's like at least 3 guys on this team.
The only thing I will say with Jordan Binnington,
who made it based off previous performances. It's a joke.
I wouldn't have brought Jordan Binnington either. But the only thing I will say with Jordan Binnington is when the big game comes, he all of a sudden becomes Dominic Hasek, and I don't mean because he drinks too many cold ones before he goes on the ice. He just makes all these big plays and makes these big saves in key moments. Now, Lane, to answer your question,
that's what I was just about to get to. I was getting.
You hate to see any player get injured, right? You hate to see that no matter what.
No, but if it means they can get Bedard or Scheifele
come off the roster,
it doesn't benefit.
Hold on, guys. If a player is going to come off the roster, and yes, Braden Point has been playing better of late. He is now up to 30 points in 37 games this year. Braden Point is probably a player that I would have taken off. So I hope he's okay. Let's hope this injury isn't too serious. But let's be honest, we'd be panicking a lot more if this was Connor McDavid over Braden Point. And look, and let's just take the human aspect away from it. If Connor McDavid or Sidney Crosby or Nathan McKinnon had this injury, we would all be freaking out because they're some of the best players in the world. Braden Point is a good player. He is not the best player in the world like a Connor McDavid. And I will still say like a Sidney Crosby. I still say find me a better two-way player than Sidney Crosby and you have a hard time.
Alexander Barkov.
Who's currently playing?
Okay, well, that's unfair. But
and even if you want to say Barkov, so that's one player.
Okay, Barkov is. Let's think. Let me think about this, and I will see if I can find a player that's currently.
How do you guys feel about the Harborough-Tomlin sweepstakes playing out?
Don't care. Could care less.
We need the who cares segment here. You know what? For me, I think both of these guys.
You should take a year off.
Quickly. Both of these guys will get jobs.
Apparently,
I don't care until the off season. None of that matters until the off season.
Apparently, he might take a whole year off. They said he might.
Tomlin?
Yeah, that's what the rumors.
I'm not surprised. He might not even coach again.
Because apparently, I don't know if this is true or not. Apparently, rumors he might just take a year off, and then the Steelers might come back might acquire him in a year. That's what I've seen.
He needs to leave Pittsburgh. I don't know where he needs to go. I don't really care where he goes. Send him to Miami for all I care. He can go sunbathe in between practices. But I think Pittsburgh and Tomlin need to have the divorce papers have been filed. And for Harbaugh in Baltimore, look, again, just like Tomlin, he's a phenomenal coach. But let's be honest, the team continued to fail. I've said the exact same thing about the Buffalo Bills of Sean McDermott. If they don't win and make it to the Super Bowl this year, he has to be fired because he's consistently failed. So, and it is crazy. The Steelers are only looking for their fourth coach since 1969. By the way,
hot take. That is not that impressive because that shows I still think this because I've actually I read in depth about not in depth, but I did read an article talking about how I think a big issue for Pittsburgh over the last whatever it is since 1969 is that they're too loyal to their coaches. Mike Tomlin should have been fired 4 years ago. He should have been fired after any of these last couple. It's true. It's cool when you're when you have a winning record, but when you
think you're lying.
Oh my God. Can you stop this, Jacob? No. Yeah, let me get my point across.
Subscribe to our channel.
Go ahead, Adam.
But when they keep losing in the playoffs, it's a crazy fact, but it's also you turn it around and say, well, that's just led to what has been. They haven't won a Super Bowl title since the 80s. You could also say the fact that they've only had that many coaches shows they've been too loyal. Yes, I hate everything. If you guys haven't realized this by now, it's not that I hate everything. I'm just realistic. Let's be realistic about that. Having your coaches be almost around for almost 20 plus years, is insane to me. It's just you keep coaches around for that long. And it's just especially when they start to fail, it's you should just cut ties. Even after 3 or 4 years, half the time, when you start to lose, it's why keep the guy around? I get loyalty, I guess, but I don't think Mike Tomlin should have been around for as long as he has been, but that's just me.
What's your thought on that, Lane, before we move on about Tomlin and Harbaugh? Any thoughts?
I don't know. We'll see what happens. There's going to be a lot of big coaching changes, right? We're seeing a lot of big coaching. It's going to be an interesting offseason for the NFL because a lot of coaches are getting fired. So we'll see. But
yeah, it definitely will.
I think it's impressive, to be honest. But you could definitely say 4 coaches since most coaches don't last that long. Maybe it's a good thing that you're loyal to your coach because not always the coach, right?
I can kind of see both sides of this, and Brandon, maybe we are reading too much into your comment at 1:57 in the morning, but I would say that for the whole Tomlin situation, it's you know what? It's one of those decisions to be loyal to your coach. It's another one to be loyal to a fault. It would be if the Leafs still had Mike Babcock because he won a Stanley Cup in Detroit, right? And that's the way I would compare. But what is a show without Jacob Moore, sports analyst, without some CFL news? What is it? It's
not a
show
show
we did about the Leafs. But I do want to get into a little bit of CFL news of a bit of a surprising release today, which was Adarius Pickett, the party starter, has been released early by the Ottawa Red Blacks. So this means Adarius Pickett can sign up a team before free agency starts. Also means if Ottawa is about to pay him any bonuses, they're getting the bonus out of the way. Interesting fact about this is that Mr. Adarius Pickett left the Argos due to a conflict inside the locker room. Ryan Dinwiddie was the head coach. Ryan Dinwiddie becomes the new head coach of the Ottawa Red Blacks. Darius Pickett, who has been vocal about how much he loves it in Ottawa, has now been released after requesting to be released by the team. His guy is one of the better linebackers in the CFL. I don't know, maybe do you either of you boys think I'm reading into this too much, or like you maybe think that this could be an issue between Dinwiddie and Pickett on why this release happened today?
Look at the Argos' grade for coaching, and that much could tell you why he left.
You know what? Lane deserves a lot of credit there because I argued with Lane so much last season. So Lane, you know what you've earned?
What's that?
A round of applause, because Lane, you did say the Argos coaching was a problem, and then the Argos get a D. Then Ryan Dinwiddie moves to Ottawa, and automatically a player who played with him recently as a coach asks for a release within a month.
That's crazy.
So Lane, do you also think then that maybe this could be a big part of it?
For sure, 100%. Look, you know, it's one of those things where, like, if you're gonna go. Once you go down that path, it's a hard path to come back from. And I know if Dan Moore for your money was here, he might have, woo, and he's like sleeping. He would probably say, well, you know, John Tortorella is the greatest coach of all time, and he always called us. Plus, yeah, but it doesn't always work. And
no,
when you're always going to the media and being like, well, this guy sucks, that really, you argued with me. I told you that's a bad thing what he did, because at the time he wasn't. Like, at least, you know, if you're going to blame someone, you got to look in the mirror sometimes. And the Argos season was so bad that I just didn't think that when he was going there, sitting there blaming everyone, I'm like, bro, have you looked in the mirror? Like, you can make changes too.
But I will say to Pickett, I think he's going to go to Montreal. They just lost Darnell Sankey due to contract issues. And Darnell Sankey is a very tough man to replace. But replacing him with the party starter is not a bad way to do it. Darius Pickett is always in the top 5 in CFL tackles. This guy's a beast. He headbutts people without a helmet on. I know, Adam, you love that. You always say that about Baker Mayfield and Scattaboo.
Okay, Baker Mayfield, no, Scattaboo is my kind of guy. That guy seems like he's a ball of fun. Okay, I will seriously have Adam Hates Everything segment, and if you really want me to, I don't think you really want me to, because then you'll just hear me complaining all the time. And that's what I do regularly.
So what I'm used to.
But I will hate on everything. You just might not like it. I might just end up targeting the Habs just because you said that. I might just specifically target the Habs for that segment. I might just do it specifically, just point out weird things for no real reason. That sounds like fun to me, honestly. Just because a Habs fan picked it out. As opposed to what? Well, I could do the Leafs as well, honestly. I would have fun doing that.
No, I think, Adam, it's going to be like that. Did you guys ever watch Family Guy with the episode, you know, where he grinds my gears?
Yeah.
I feel that would be, it's just finding the most random stuff. Like, you know where he grinds my gears? Coffee that is too cold. I think Adam would just go on rants about, like, how he couldn't find a pair of socks this morning and how
honestly, that happens to me, though. Don't even get me started. No, I can't. But that does happen to me all the time, to be fair.
I
don't put clothes away.
One other thing I did want to bring up from the CFL. We're not going to dive into all the CFL news because, funny enough, there's been a lot of CFL news in the last 24 to 48 hours.
We can just talk about it tomorrow, Jacob.
I do want to bring up one more thing, and then we'll get into these in another day. But I feel we have to at least mention them.
Okay, sock rant tomorrow. Okay, not today.
CFL.
I'm not doing it now.
Sock rant. There we go.
I'll do a sock rant. I'll do a sock rant next show.
The CFL is considering some major tweaks to the new rule changes. That would include a traditional play clock. Hey, here we go. Did someone say CFL news? Thank you very much, Rick. Traditional clock rules in the final 3 minutes. So that would mean instead of a 35-second play clock, you would be going back to the 20-second play clock so teams cannot just knee the ball out for the game.
See, Jacob, your concern has been...
That was my biggest concern at these rule changes.
I didn't think they would change it, honestly. I thought it was going to be something like that.
These still have to be approved. And getting rid of ties
Yay!
In the CFL. So I don't know, for people who don't know the CFL overtime format currently, they go like each team starts at, I want to say it's either the 35 or the 40-yard line. And each team gets the ball once to try to score, whether it's a touchdown or a field goal. If a defense gets a stop, then the other team gets a field goal, you win. And you get to do that twice. It used to be if you do that twice, it was a tie. Now they want to change it where after those 2 mini games are completed for each side, they will just go back and forth on trying to get a 2-point convert from the 3-yard line. Whoever gets it, very similar to the college football overtime rules for that final football.
One. Oh my gosh, we're going to see 11 overtime games.
Honestly, I love this.
Great. That sounds crazy.
I mean, tie games really, when the last time was a tie game, let's be honest. Yeah.
That was so confusing.
We have not. I don't remember when it was a long time ago, Rick, because I'm trying to remember when the last CFL tie was. But I do actually like these tweaks, right? As you said, Adam, and you're right. The one rule that I was really upset about was how does this affect the final 3 minutes? Potentially, it looks like they're going to go back to the shorter game clock. Oh, and Rick has it. Last tie game was in 2024, then 2016. Then back in 2009. You guys think I'm our CFO encyclopedia. Rick is another CFO encyclopedia.
I feel like Rick just looked that up really quickly, and then it's just not going to tell us that he did that. There's no way he just knew that off the top of his head.
I bet he knew. It's tattooed on his back.
That is crazy if he knew that. If he knew that off the top of his head, that is insane. That is
and like I said, guys, we're not going to get into all the CFO news today.
That is crazy sports fandom right there.
That was just the 2 biggest CFL storylines of the last, I'd say, 48 hours. Lots of talk going on in the winter meetings, including the future of Trey Ford at Edmonton, Winnipeg on the rest of their coaching staff, Steinhauer making statements about the Ticats this year. Argos had some good chats about starting quarterbacks. So I think we are going to have to do a CFL show very, very soon because there's been a lot going on, and we're getting very close to that tampering window. But I would say at this point, it may be time for us to sign off.
I think you're lying.
Yeah, I don't want to go.
I don't think I'm lying, random voice that I'm put in
Jacob,
there.
you did not just put in that special effect for yourself.
Yes, I did.
Oh, poor Jacob. Poor Jacob.
But before we go, what do you... Oh, and waiting for the news about Jacob and Dan's future in Toronto. What am I doing in Toronto?
Oh, I think he means as like season ticket holder, probably.
Oh, I will still be I'm still a season ticket holder. However, I'm not going to lie. You will see me at a lot more Ticats games this year because Toronto's on a home game for like 10 freaking weeks. Very frustrating.
Okay, Jacob. It's okay, Jacob.
And yes, I am a season ticket holder, Rick, still. Look, I'm always going to love my Argos, even if I don't agree with all the decisions they make, same way Leaf fans do. Adam, I know you gave your thoughts on those CFL potential rules. Lane, what are your thoughts on those before we sign off?
So I was kind of excited. They said right away that the final 3 minutes wasn't going to change, so I don't know why people were so worried about that.
Yeah, that's literally when they were going to make sure that the game still stayed exciting in the final 3 minutes.
Because people like to complain, not Dan Lane. I meant Lane.
Dan is in bed.
Also, I know, that's why I said I meant Lane.
Dan is not nearly as dashing as Lane.
It's also why, I know Key gets really bothered by it, but we have to see how it plays out before we really go crazy on it. And I understand why, Key, I get the passion because I'm a passionate person, so I get why there's passion for not changing the rules. But until we really see all the details and all the plays and even see it, we have to see it at least. If it's bad, we can always go back.
That's true. But you know what can't go back? Your time of watching the Analyst Desk. But you can rewatch it and watch other episodes you haven't seen, different shorts. Where's the fourth talking head tonight? So Mr. Morfor has to get up.
I knocked Dan out. I knocked Dan out. That's what happened.
Where's Dan? He's locked up in my basement.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm in my basement. But no,
Dan's locked up in my basement.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
that's where Adam's socks are. They're in Dan's mouth.
I very secretly took Dan in the middle.
But no, all jokes aside, he has to be up at like 5 a.m, so he doesn't do the late night shows with us when he's got to be up that early, which I don't blame him. I say just drink caffeine and don't be a baby. That's what I do. I just don't sleep.
That's true. He doesn't.
Again, we are going to have lots more CFL content coming up for you very, very soon because I love talking CFL. Truthfully, it's still no disrespect to the hockey. CFL is still my favorite. Preseason starts in May, boys.
It's why Jacob likes to sneak it in right at the end, so none of us really fight him on it. He likes to put it in right at the end.
Hey, this is big news, these things that have came out the last couple of days. We got to talk about it.
Why didn't we talk about it earlier? Why'd you wait until the last?
Because this is a hockey show. But I wanted to get it in there.
Joking.
Sprinkle.
Joking, Jacob.
Hey, you know what, Adam? You ought to pull it down and read the score.
No, I think none of us should read the scores.
No.
That's Dan's thing. That's nobody else's.
We can't take that from him. But I do want to thank everyone very much for joining us at the desk this lovely morning, evening, whatever time zone you're in. Thanks. Let's also give a big thanks to Lane Dashko, who suggested we even do the shows today. At first, Adam and I were like, nah, B. And then Lane's like, yo, you got to do it. You got to be part of the hustle.
Lane actually threatened me.
Believe.
Well, I'm very scared for my safety.
Should be.
So, thank you very much, everyone. And as a reminder, we will be doing our first ever watch party tomorrow it is
tomorrow, I guess.
It is because it's Wednesday. On Thursday night when the Toronto Maple Leafs take on the Vegas Golden Knights. Enjoy the laughs, the tears, the cries.
That's when my sock rant is going to happen.
What the beverages are. It's going to be a great time. Joined by me, Mr. Lane Dashko, Adam the Goat. Dan, Mr. More for Your Money, may jump in a little bit, but he can't stay the whole game because, again, he's got to be up at the crack of dawn again. But he's going to be a downtown draw for 8 a.m, the poor bloke. But I do want to say thank you very much to everyone for watching. Thanks to all the viewers and all your comments. We really do appreciate you. Remember, if you have not yet, you need to
subscribe to our channel.
As all the subscribers help, our next goal is to get to 150 subscribers. Adam is so sick of that voice note. I think I might just start sending it to him, so he can just hear it in his sleep.
It's such a long outro.
But thank you very much, everyone, for watching. I'm Jacob Moore, the sports analyst, joined by Mr. Lane Dashko and Adam. Adam, your dad said good show.
Oh, my God.
Good job.
I actually, that's surprising because I totally thought my dad was asleep. That's funny.
Can't be asleep when you're watching the analyst desk. But thank you very much, everyone, for joining. And remember, we got some big news coming up, so make sure you stay locked into all the social medias. And thank you for watching. And until next time, at the analyst desk, it always feels like game day. Bye-bye. Lane, wave.
Lane, wave.